The massive crystal doors of the Galactic Council chambers shattered the silence as they burst open. Ambassador James Miller strode out, his face red with anger, followed by the entire human delegation. Their footsteps echoed through the ornate halls of the Council's headquarters on Station Alpha 1. 200 years, Miller muttered, his fists clenched. 200 years of being treated like children. Behind them, the council members watched in shocked silence. The tall, blue-skinned council leader rose from his seat, his voice booming across the chamber. "If you leave now, there will be consequences, humans. You need us more than we need you." Miller stopped and turned. His laugh echoed through the chamber, but there was no humor in it. "Need you? For what?" "To tell us how primitive we are while you use our technology. To remind us that we're too young to have a real voice in galactic matters." The council chambers erupted in whispers. The truth was uncomfortable. Human innovation had quietly become the backbone of galactic society. Their AI systems managed trade routes, their quantum computers processed data for thousands of worlds, and their medical advances had saved millions of alien lives. "You forget your place," growled Representative Tom from the maintenance crew. "The Council has guided civilizations for 50,000 years. And that's exactly the problem," Miller replied. "You're so busy looking at the past that you can't see the future. Humanity is done being your obedient student." The Earth's Vice Ambassador, Lisa Roberts, stepped forward with a data crystal. Her hand was steady as she placed it on the central podium. "This contains our formal withdrawal from the Galactic Council. All technology contracts will expire in 30 days. All human personnel will be recalled within 60 days. The council leader's face turned a deeper shade of blue. "You cannot simply." "We can and we are," Miller interrupted. Article 7, Section 12 of the Council Charter. "Any species may withdraw their membership with proper notice. We're giving you notice." The human delegation turned and walked away, leaving chaos in their wake. Council members shouted and argued, some demanding immediate action, others calling for negotiations. But the humans didn't look back. In the transport pod heading back to the Earth Embassy, Miller loosened his collar and looked at his team. "Send the signal. Start protocol exodus." Across the galaxy, human workers began their carefully planned departures. Ships were already waiting at every major port. Families had been quietly relocated over the past month. The Council would soon realize that humanity had prepared for this day. Back on Earth, the Global Defense Command was already implementing security measures. Admiral Jane Wilson watched as the planetary shield grid powered up for the first time. Technology the Council didn't know existed. Ships moved into defensive positions, revealing weapons systems that had been kept secret for decades. "Status report," Wilson commanded. "All human citizens accounted for at evacuation points, Admiral. 98% of our people will be off Council worlds within 24 hours. Our independent trade partners have been notified and are standing by." Wilson nodded, studying the holographic display showing the movements of Council ships. They were in for a shock when they realized how much they depended on human technology. In his private office on Station Alpha 1, Miller looked out at the endless expanse of space. His communication device buzzed. A message from Earth's president. "It's done. No turning back now." Miller smiled. The Council had always seen humans as the young, impulsive species that needed guidance. They never understood that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in their technology or their innovations. It was their ability to adapt, to change, to walk away from bad situations, and forge their own path. "No turning back," he whispered to the stars. "Let them see what happens when humanity stops playing by their rules." The first reports of system failures were already coming in from Council worlds. It would take them weeks to realize just how deeply human technology was woven into their society. By then, humanity would be ready for whatever came next. The age of accepting the Council's authority was over. The age of human independence had begun. And somewhere in the vast reaches of space, a new dawn was breaking. 1 month after humanity's departure, The first major cracks began to show in the Council's perfect facade. The Grand Council chamber, once a symbol of galactic unity, now felt emptier and somehow dimmer. The holographic displays flickered constantly, a problem no one seemed able to fix. Council leader stood at his window, watching ships drift aimlessly in the space around Station Alpha 1. Nearly 30% of all interstellar traffic had ground to a halt. The automated routing systems, which had quietly run on human-designed AI, were failing one by one. "How bad is it?" he asked his advisor, not turning from the window. "Worse than we predicted," the advisor replied, his tentacles nervously twitching. "We've lost contact with 16 outer colonies. The quantum communication network. It's not just shut down. It's like it never existed." In the station's market district, anger was building. Merchants watched their stocks of Earth-made goods dwindle. The replacement products from Council worlds were inferior, and everyone knew it. A crowd had gathered around one shop selling the last remaining human medical supplies, prices now 10 times higher than before. On the trading floor, chaos reigned. Broker Mark Thompson, one of the few humans who chose to stay, watched with hidden amusement as alien traders struggled with the new manual trading systems. The elegant AI that had processed millions of transactions per second was gone, replaced by shouting, arguing, and actual paper contracts. "They really didn't know," he whispered to himself. "They really had no idea how much they relied on us." Deep in the station's maintenance levels, Chief Engineer Ross wiped sweat from his forehead. The station's environmental systems were failing. The self-repairing nanites that maintained crucial systems had reached the end of their life cycle, and no one knew how to replace them. "Try rerouting power through the secondary grid," he ordered his team. They had been working for 20 hours straight, but the problems kept multiplying. A small ship docked at the station, carrying Representative John from a minor council race. His face was grim as he rushed to the emergency council session. His world, like many others, was facing an unprecedented crisis. The council chamber was in an uproar when he arrived. Representatives shouted over each other, some demanding military action against Earth, others calling for immediate negotiations. "Our medical facilities are failing," one shouted. "Trade has collapsed in the outer sectors," yelled another. "3 of my cities lost power yesterday." The council leader banged his ceremonial staff, calling for order. "We have ruled the galaxy for 50,000 years. We will not be brought to our knees by the departure of one young species." But his words rang hollow. Everyone in the chamber knew the truth. Humanity hadn't just left. They had revealed how dependent the council had become on their innovations. In a quiet corner of the station's residential section, Ambassador Miller's old office was being cleared out. A young alien clerk found a message pad, its screen still glowing. The message was simple. "When the power goes out, look to the stars." That night, as if on cue, Station Alpha 1 experienced its first total power failure. As emergency systems struggled to kick in, the station's inhabitants looked out their windows. In the distance, they saw something extraordinary. A human ship, sleek and advanced, passed silently by. Its hull gleamed with technology far beyond anything the council possessed. It made no hostile moves, but its message was clear. Humanity had been holding back. In the darkness of his chamber, the council leader received an urgent message. 3 more species had announced their intention to leave the council. They had already established independent trade agreements with Earth. "Impossible," he muttered, but he knew it wasn't. The humans hadn't just walked away. They had shown others that it was possible to thrive without the council's guidance. As Station Alpha 1's lights flickered back to life, a new reality was setting in. The galaxy was changing, and for the first time in 50,000 years, the council wasn't in control. The chaos had only just begun. Earth's orbital stations hummed with activity. Ships from independent worlds lined up in neat queues, waiting their turn to dock and trade. Below, the planet's surface gleamed with city lights, protected by an energy shield that rippled like silk in the solar wind. In the global trade center, Director Robert watched the flow of commerce with satisfaction. The massive screen showed thousands of transactions happening every second, all through the new Earth-controlled quantum network. Another request for membership, his assistant said, handing him a datapad. That makes 15 independent worlds this week. Robert nodded, studying the application. These worlds had once been too afraid to leave the Council's protection. Now they were seeing a different path. Deep in Earth's quantum communication facility, head engineer Anna worked at her station, monitoring the network that now connected half the galaxy. Not the Council's half, the free half. Send the new encryption keys to our allies, she ordered, and make sure the Council's spy probes only see what we want them to see. The Council's old communication methods were like sending messages by horse compared to Earth's quantum network. Their ships now took weeks to deliver information that Earth's network could transmit in seconds. In orbit, a Council diplomatic vessel waited for clearance to approach. Earth's defense grid tracked its every move. Inside, Council Ambassador Pete shifted uncomfortably in his seat. He had come to offer terms, to try to bring humanity back into the fold. He didn't know that his ship's every communication was being intercepted and decoded. "They're scanning us," the ship's captain reported nervously. "Their technology. It's nothing like what they shared with the Council." On Earth's moon base, Military Commander Jack reviewed the scans of the Council ship. Its design was outdated, its weapons primitive compared to Earth's current capabilities. The humans had shared only a fraction of their military technology with the Council. "Keep them waiting another hour," he ordered. "Let them see what it feels like to be treated as inferior." In the agricultural worlds of the Outer Rim, farmers watched their automated systems fail one by one. The Council's replacement technology was crude and inefficient. But those who had signed trade agreements with Earth received new systems, better ones, that doubled their crop yields. "The Council promised us protection," one farmer told his neighbors. "Earth gives us prosperity." Back on Station Alpha 1, the Council was in session again. The chamber was noticeably emptier now. Empty seats marked where representatives of departed worlds once sat. "Their influence spreads like a virus," one Council member complained. "They're turning the galaxy against us." "No," corrected another, wiser member. "We did that ourselves. We treated them like children while depending on their innovations. Now we're paying the price." In Earth's diplomatic center, Ambassador Miller met with representatives from 30 independent worlds. The meeting was being transmitted instantly across light years through the quantum network. "We don't want to rule you," Miller explained. "We want to trade with you, grow with you, learn from you, as equals." The aliens looked at each other. Equality was a concept the Council had never truly embraced. On the fringes of Council space, more worlds were quietly preparing to leave. They had seen the prosperity of Earth's allies, the advanced technology freely shared, the respect given to even the smallest worlds. In his private chambers, the Council leader received the latest reports. Trade was down 70%. Technology failures were spreading. And now, worlds that had been loyal for thousands of years were questioning everything. "How did we not see this coming?" he asked his empty room. The answer was simple but painful. They had seen humans as primitive upstarts, never noticing that they had quietly revolutionized the galaxy. As Earth's sun set, Miller stood in his office, watching the Council ship still waiting in orbit. The quantum network hummed around him, carrying the hopes and dreams of a free galaxy. The silent revolution wasn't won with weapons or wars. It was won by showing the galaxy a better way. And it was only the beginning. The Council's first attack came without warning. 3 warships dropped out of hyperspace near one of Earth's trading outposts, their weapons powered up, ready to demonstrate the Council's military might. They never got the chance to fire. The outpost's defense grid activated instantly. Swarms of tiny drones emerged from hidden ports, surrounding the Council ships in seconds. Before the alien commanders could react, their weapon systems went dark. Their engines died. They floated helplessly in space. "This is Earth Defense Command," A calm voice transmitted. Your ships have been neutralized. You will be escorted out of our space. Consider this your only warning. In the Council's military headquarters, General Max slammed his fist on the table. The holographic display showed the failed attack in detail. Impossible. Their defensive capabilities were nothing like this 6 months ago. A junior officer spoke up. Sir, we're detecting similar defense systems at every human outpost. They must have been hiding their true military strength for years. On Earth, the Global Defense Command buzzed with controlled activity. Commander Jack stood before a wall of screens, each showing different sectors of space. Red dots marked Council military movements. Green dots showed Earth's allies. They're finally making their move, he said, just as we predicted. In orbit above Earth, the first of the new Guardian-class battleships emerged from its shipyard. Unlike the blocky, aggressive designs of Council warships, it was sleek and elegant. Its hull rippled with energy fields that made it almost invisible to standard scanners. Launch successful, reported the shipyard controller. All systems showing green. She's ready for duty. The Council's spies transmitted frantic reports back to their superiors. Human military technology wasn't just advanced, it was generations ahead of anything the Council possessed. Their ships could vanish from sensors at will. Their weapons could disable enemy vessels without destroying them. Their defense systems seemed to predict attacks before they happened. In a secret Council meeting, military leaders argued furiously. We must strike now, before they grow stronger. We already tried that. Did you see what happened? Then we gather the entire fleet, show them what real power looks like. But in their hearts they knew. The humans hadn't just been preparing for independence, they had been preparing for war. A war they seemed certain they could win. On a peaceful trading world that had recently left the Council, locals watched in awe as a human defense system was installed. Small satellites took up orbit, linking together to form an invisible shield around their planet. But how can we pay for this? Asked their leader. Ambassador Miller smiled. You don't pay. This is what allies do for each other. Deep in Earth's military research facilities, scientists and engineers continued their work. They had held back their best innovations during their time in the Council. Now those innovations were being perfected. The Council thinks this is an arms race, one engineer said to another. They don't understand. We already won it, years ago. In space, more Council ships gathered for another attack. This time they came in force. 50 ships, their most powerful fleet. They emerged from hyperspace near one of Earth's major colonies. They found 3 Guardian-class ships waiting for them. Just 3. This is your final warning, transmitted the Earth commander. Turn back now. The Council fleet commander laughed. You dare threaten us. We outnumber you 16 to 1. Numbers, the Earth commander replied calmly, aren't everything. What happened next would be talked about for generations. 3 ships against 50. It wasn't even close to a fair fight. The Council fleet retreated in disarray, half their ships disabled, the other half barely functioning. Not a single shot had been fired. Earth's technology had simply shut them down. In the aftermath, as Earth's ships helped rescue crews from the disabled Council vessels, the message was clear. Humanity had never been the primitive species the Council thought they were. They had been preparing, waiting, building. And now, the galaxy would never be the same. The Great Hall of Earth's Unity Center was filled to capacity. Representatives from 47 independent worlds sat together, their differences in appearance highlighting the diversity of the gathering. Above them, a holographic Earth symbol slowly rotated, not as a sign of dominance, but as a reminder of who had shown them another way. Ambassador Miller stood at the podium, looking out at the assembled species. Some had been Council members for thousands of years. Others had been deemed too primitive for Council membership. Now they sat as equals. We gather here not to create a new Council, Miller began, but to build something different, something better. In orbit, ships from all 47 worlds floated peacefully. Their designs were different, but they all carried the same new quantum communication systems, a gift from Earth. Gone were the days of waiting weeks for council approval to speak with distant worlds. Inside the Unity Center, trade agreements were being signed at an unprecedented rate. But unlike the Council's controlled economy, these were direct agreements between worlds. Earth provided the communication network and security, but each world was free to trade as they wished. "Look at what we've accomplished in just 6 months," said Representative Bill from a mining world. "Our production has doubled since we left the Council. No more quotas, no more restrictions." At a side table, military leaders from various worlds shared information openly. Earth's defense technology was being adapted for each world's specific needs. The old Council policy of keeping less advanced worlds defenseless was gone. "We were afraid to leave the Council's protection," admitted one alien commander. "Now we're stronger than we ever were under their control." News of the gathering spread quickly across the galaxy. In Council space, more worlds began to question their loyalty. The sight of former Council worlds prospering in the new alliance was hard to ignore. Deep in the Unity Center's secure chambers, Earth scientists shared innovations that had been kept hidden from the Council. Medical technology that could cure diseases the Council had declared untreatable. Energy systems that could power entire planets without pollution. "Why didn't you share these before?" asked a curious alien scientist. "Because the Council would have controlled who got them," answered the human researcher. "Now every world can have them. No restrictions, no politics." In the space lanes, trade ships moved freely between allied worlds. Pirates and raiders, once a constant threat in Council space, found themselves facing unified defense systems they couldn't breach. Commerce flourished in ways the Council had always claimed were impossible without their oversight. Back in the main hall, Miller continued his address. "Each world here is sovereign, each culture unique. We don't seek to change who you are. We seek only to help you become the best version of yourselves." The Council's spies watched the proceedings with growing concern. This wasn't just an alliance. It was a completely new way of organizing galactic civilization. One where cooperation replaced control, where advancement was shared instead of restricted. "The Council claims we need their guidance," Miller said, his voice strong. "That without their rules, their restrictions, their control, chaos would reign. Look around you. Is this chaos, or is this freedom?" In the chamber, representatives nodded. Their worlds were growing, advancing, prospering. The Council's warnings of disaster had proven false. Outside, more ships arrived. 3 more worlds had declared independence from the Council. Their representatives would join the alliance tomorrow. As the session ended, Miller stood with his advisors, watching the different species mingling freely. "They're calling it the Alliance of the Free on the Quantum Net," his assistant reported. Miller smiled. "Not our name for it, but a good one." In deep space, Council patrol ships watched helplessly as another trading convoy ignored their authority, jumping to quantum speed on routes the Council couldn't control. The balance of power hadn't just shifted. It had been completely rewritten. And in the Great Hall of the Unity Center, 47 worlds, soon to be 50, showed the galaxy what real civilization looked like. Freedom, it seemed, was more powerful than control. The Council's entire fleet moved through space, 1,000 warships strong. Their mission was simple: crush the human rebellion and force the rebellious worlds back into the Council's control. It was the largest military force assembled in 50,000 years. In Earth's Defense Command, alarms blared. Commander Jack stood calmly as the massive fleet appeared on their long-range sensors. "They've committed their entire force," he noted, "just as we expected." Across Alliance space, quantum communication channels lit up. The plan they had prepared for was now in motion. Years of preparation were about to pay off. The Council fleet split into 3 groups. The largest force headed straight for Earth. The others moved toward major Alliance trading hubs. Their commanders were confident. No civilization could stand against such might. On Earth, Miller watched the approaching fleet from the Unity Center. "Send the signal," he ordered. "Begin Operation Checkmate." Throughout Alliance space, hidden defense platforms activated. Quantum fields rippled across trade routes, and in secret shipyards, vessels that had never been revealed to Council spies powered up their systems. The Council's first surprise came when their fleet tried to enter hyperspace for the final approach to Earth. Nothing happened. Their faster-than-light drives simply didn't work. "Impossible," shouted the Council fleet commander. All ships switched to backup drives. But the backup drives failed too. The entire Council fleet was trapped in normal space, months away from their targets at sublight speed. That's when the Alliance ships appeared. They seemed to materialize from nowhere, sleek, advanced vessels that bore little resemblance to known human ships. The Council commanders realized too late that they'd been studying outdated intelligence. "This is Alliance Defense Force," transmitted a calm voice. "Your fleet has been contained. Your weapons are now disabled. Please prepare for boarding." The Council ships fired anyway, or tried to. Their weapons produced nothing but error messages. Some tried to retreat, only to find their engines responding to Alliance commands instead of their own. In the Council's military headquarters, panic set in as reports arrived. Their entire fleet had been neutralized in less than an hour. No shots fired. No lives lost, just complete and total technological superiority. "How?" demanded the Council leader. "How could they do this?" The answer came from his own technical advisor. "They didn't just advance beyond us. They completely reinvented how space combat works. We brought weapons to a technology fight." On the captured Council flagship, Miller walked onto the bridge. The Council fleet commander stared in disbelief as human engineers calmly disabled and rebuilt his ship's systems. "You could have destroyed us," the commander said quietly. Miller nodded. "We could have. That's not who we are." Across Council space, the news spread quickly. Their invincible fleet neutralized without a single shot. Their best technology rendered useless. Their military might proved meaningless. In the following hours, 20 more worlds announced their departure from the Council. They had waited to see who would win. Now they knew. Earth's quantum network carried the images everywhere, Council ships being escorted home by Alliance vessels. Their crews were treated with respect, their ships returned with minimal modifications. It was not a victory parade. It was a demonstration of civilization. One week, Miller said to his staff later, "The weak humanity showed its teeth, but we did it without biting." In orbit, Alliance ships installed new quantum communication relays where the Council fleet had been. The message was clear. They would build, not destroy. Create, not conquer. The Council's gambit had failed completely. They had expected a war and found themselves facing something far more powerful, a civilization so advanced that war itself had become obsolete. As the last Council ships limped home, the galaxy watched and learned. Humanity hadn't just created better weapons. They had created a better way. The Council's age of military power was over. The age of technological diplomacy had begun, and humanity had shown it could win without fighting. 1 year after the failed Council fleet attack, the Grand Council chamber sat empty. Its ornate walls, once symbols of absolute power, now echoed with silence. The Council that had ruled for 50,000 years had dissolved not with a bang, but with a quiet acceptance of reality. In its place, something new had grown. The Unity Center on Earth hosted representatives from over 200 worlds. Some were former Council members, others were civilizations the Council had rejected. All were equal now. Miller walked through the center's main hall, remembering the day humanity had walked out of the Council. "We didn't want to rule," he said to his aide. "We just wanted to show them a better way." The quantum network now connected nearly every inhabited world. Information, trade, and culture flowed freely. Species that the Council had kept apart for millennia were discovering they had more in common than they'd known. Latest reports from the outer sectors, his aide said, handing him a datapad. The last Council holdouts have requested membership in the Alliance. They're tired of being left behind. In orbit, ships of all designs moved smoothly through organized lanes. The old Council restrictions on technology sharing were gone. Every world now had access to Earth's advanced navigation and safety systems. On former Council worlds, changes were everywhere. The rigid hierarchies were dissolving. Young species taught older ones new ways of thinking. Ancient species shared their accumulated wisdom freely, no longer bound by Council rules about cultural contamination. The Council was wrong about chaos, said an elder alien diplomat to Miller. Freedom didn't bring disorder, it brought innovation. Deep in Earth's research centers, scientists from 100 worlds worked together. Medical breakthroughs were shared instantly across the galaxy. New technologies were developed through collaboration rather than competition. The former Council leader, now a regular representative of his world, stood in the Unity Center's observation deck. "We thought we were protecting civilization," he admitted to Miller. "Instead, we were holding it back." Below them, Earth's cities gleamed, but they were no longer unique. Similar cities now rose on worlds across the galaxy, each adapting human and Alliance technology to their own needs and culture. "We don't enforce," Miller replied. "We offer. That's the difference." In the newly established Academy of Galactic Studies, young beings from every Alliance world studied together. The old Council barriers between species were gone. Knowledge flowed freely. "Look at them," said the Academy's director, watching students of different species working on a quantum physics problem together. "This is what real civilization looks like." The Alliance Defense Force had evolved too. Instead of maintaining power through military might, they focused on search and rescue, disaster response, and protecting trade routes. Their advanced technology served life, not destruction. Miller stood in his office, looking at a galactic map. The old Council boundaries were fading as new trade routes and cultural exchanges created different patterns of connection and cooperation. "Final report from the transition team," his aide announced. "The last Council administrative systems have been replaced. The transformation is complete." But it wasn't really complete, it was just beginning. Every day brought new discoveries, new connections, new ways of working together. The galaxy was alive with possibility. "They called us primitive," Miller mused. "They never understood that real civilization isn't about age or power. It's about wisdom and growth." Outside his window, a ship from one of the youngest Alliance worlds docked smoothly at the Unity Center. Its crew would bring their unique perspective to the ongoing conversation about the galaxy's future. The Council's age was over, but this wasn't humanity's age either. It was something new, an age of true cooperation, where every world and species could contribute their strengths and learn from others. As Earth's sun set, casting golden light across the Unity Center, Miller smiled. They had done more than change the galaxy's power structure. They had changed its heart. The future was unwritten now, full of possibilities the Council had never imagined, and it belonged to everyone. That was humanity's real victory.